that is still under construction, but I can give you an impression. It's not well designed at the moment. We are working on this, that it will be a nice way to work in it, that it will be attractive. But first is not to have the program to run the questionnaire at first, and then to learn with the learning nuggets. So we will construct a website. You can see it, I hope. No?
Yes.
Okay. The nice lady from IFOTES, that will be an astronaut when we are ready, because we want to accompany this complete web application by astronauts, so that because they are those who lead you to another dimension, and listening to another person is like going to another universe of interpretation, of inner knowledge and inner wisdom. So but this will be shown in the next year when we are ready with everything, but I can show you now how it works in general. So you will be welcome. The address you can read here, MonaLiSa Westcom. Don't try it. It's only the programming side, and it will not work very well. So it will, in the future, it will appear on IFOTES website, but also under listening-skills.eu. And that is something very important. We are interested that if you have an own web page that you manage, like of a listening skill center, of a listening skill organization in your country, you can put a link there that people that visit your website can directly go to the listening skill self-test, so that people have the possibility to find this tool. And in some weeks, or at least this next year, we will contact you and explain more in detail how this will be possible to connect directly this tool to your website. So when you start with this, there will be some data. No? If you're male or female, I go now through with my person. So I'm male, my birth year I can put in here. Are you curious to know? So for 64, nationality. So we have to make this easier because there are so many nationalities that you have to go through. Here, do I work? I'm retired, or I'm unemployed student, or other. You have to choose, and if I'm trained or not trained, and yeah, working area. Where did you hear about this tool? We collect this data without taking any personal data because we want to make statistics. How many people, which nationality, which age, male, female, diverse, are using this questionnaire to get an impression how people will use it and understand this. And then I can go to the questions. And now you see the questions that Ulrike presented at the beginning. Yeah, sometimes it's hard for me, so it starts to search for clues regarding what motivates the other person, and then I can choose between the five votings. What here standing is not right, because you remember Ulrike said it has to be hard, so it's between not hard or very hard. So we will change this. No? So here, I put it here, then it's easy for me to offer new perspective. It's difficult for me to ask the other person for their strengths and resources. Well, I do, sometimes I do not. To encourage the other person to observe rather than evaluate inner experience. Oh, that is really difficult for me. To help the other person to try out things in the listening process. Okay, that usually I do. So you go through this questionnaire, and you will have these 48 questions Ulrike mentioned before. And at the end, and I prepared this, that it's not necessary to go through all these questions, you will have an outcome. But before I go there, I will show you also that you can choose the different languages. English is now the language we use. You can switch to another language, and Dutch will be added soon. So we will also present it in Dutch. So and when you went through this complete questionnaire, you get this as your personal outcome. So you see the 8 fields. So you first time you will learn that there are 8 fields that are important for listening. This will of course explain, that is not ready now on the website. And you can see how you rated these different fields. And the dark color is the average of your answers. And as many as you have colored points, it shows the range you answered. So when I did this questionnaire, I made it fast and not seriously. But when I go through this, I had mostly a big range. And when I go now to, let's say, paraphrase meaningful contents, it's average, it's in the middle. But that doesn't mean that I was always in the middle. I was sometimes also that I'm fine, that that it's not hard for me. So, and I can now see here exactly how I voted this part. And you see here the questions that are related to the field of paraphrase meaningful contents. And you see that I voted, it's not hard for me, mainly. Sometimes it's a little hard, or I don't know. And that's the reason why at the end I got more or less this value at the end. You know, with acceptance, it's different. I'm not sure, and it's harder for me to show acceptance. And you can see it here, those questions that are related to acceptance are more on this side where it's hard. Only one was easy for me, to accept other person's decisions, okay, but the other, not to judge a person, was not so easy for me. So this is the outcome here. So I can now check every field with my answers, and I can on one side learn what are the 8 fields and which questions have been part of this field. That can be very interesting also for training, that for individual training, because sometimes people are in some listening fields, they are very good, in other listening fields they are not very good. So you can train at specific fields of listening with this tool. And how it works, you can see now. So let's say acceptance was not so my best outcome, and I go to acceptance. I check again, okay, difficult for me is to truly accept the other person's feelings. Okay, I'm not the person who is connected to feelings. And how can I train this? And then I go to train, and then you come to the learning nuggets I mentioned before. Here you see 4 examples of learning nuggets. We decided that we have cases that are less difficult and cases that are more difficult. And the more difficult cases, we will not put openly for everybody, because they are mainly from counseling processes or listening situations from crisis centers. So it's not useful for everybody without any training. So they are reserved for the training area. So when you are a trainee of a training, then you can get all the training cases. But when you're only interested to learn about listening, you will get the more easier basic examples, and they have usually they have a daily situation. So I completed this already, but I show it that you have an idea. Here you see that is under construction, because the there are hieroglyphs in between. So the case is, I don't know if it's right to feel the way, feeling or not. I'm isolating myself more and more from other people. I really do not feel like getting involved with the group of people when no one shows how they really are and everyone just wants to pretend that they are better than others. So you will have presented this case and then you can select responses. And here in this case, you get 4 different responses. You should avoid relationships with people you can trust, could be one answer to this person. Or the more you isolate yourself, the harder it will become to find people you can build a relationship with. Have you known these people all your life, or are they recent relationships? Or your answer, it seems as if you don't feel like getting involved with a group of people who are pretending to be someone else, and that's why you isolate yourself. I can imagine that you feel uncomfortable under these circumstances. So under the listening skill of acceptance, which would you choose? Perhaps you choose this one, and then you can check it. And here you find now the comment of the effect of the answer. It judges the situation as dangerous and creates suspicion. This has a suggestive effect. So then you can meditate on this answer again and can try to understand, why do we write this about this answer? Or you go to this and try check again. It expresses acceptance of the woman's perspective. So that's the answer that is best. We are not ready discussing how we exactly present the answers. So there will be a little more tricky period that you first can try different answers, and at the end you will get the comments. So we are we did not finalize this, but this will be the way how you can train and understand more deeply the different fields of listening. And so we think it's interesting for everybody who does this questionnaire and exactly goes to those fields he or she was not so sure with, but also for training in test posts. You can use this tool at the beginning of a training to find out how the people are in listening skills. And you can use also these examples in training to get a more precise understanding of the different listening fields. So we will have 2 kinds of access to this website. One general that can find everybody. What is possible when you are part of a training group or when you are a trainer of a group, it's possible to inform the people that they store their profile number. You see here something that is called Save Profile, and then you will get a code. You can send it to your email address you write here, or you pick it up with your mobile, and then your personal profile will be stored, and you can give it to your trainer. That is possible for him to analyze your outcome. And with this code, you will be possible also to access to the higher level, that you can also train the more difficult exercises we are preparing for test training and listening skill training. So this is a first view to the web application, so that you have a good impression how it works in the end. But of course, it will work more smoothly and will be more nice in the design. Okay, that's it. Thank you for your attention.